Lupeju. He says, "Good evening, all. Funke, find yourself and cool down. Take your mind off him, patapata, and move on. The hosts of heaven will fight for you. Take a deep breath and make yourself happy. You will find another in the next week in the mighty name of Jesus. The most important thing, don't worry, be happy. God is with you." And that's from Kolaole from Ilupeju. All right, this one is from Fred from Abliegba. Fred says, "Good evening to everyone. Why the shock? He avoided your calls before now and blocked you on WhatsApp. You are 23 years. Please move on with your life, Jerry." Okay, that sounded a little bit judgmental. Okay, this one is from Onyedi from Lagos, who says, "Advise you on what? Biko, what advice do you want? He avoided your calls before he traveled. You went there and was told he had traveled. He told his parents you guys are mutual friends. Now, after all this whole clue, you still want advice?" Okay, yeah. Onyedi, I'm not going to finish reading that message. I'm just going to go straight to where you said, "When you block someone, please, what message are you trying to pass to the person that you blocked?" And that's about it. Okay, so this one is coming in from Okemute from Oregon, who says, "There's nothing to advise here. The picture is crystal clear for you to get the message. He has gone, and you too should do the same. Don't act as if you're trying to push yourself on mere shadow. God's time is the best." Okemute from Oregon. Okay. Benga from Songo is the one that says, "Good evening, house. Funke, don't be shocked. My advice for you is to find yourself a nice guy and forget about him. He has gone for good." Okay. This one is from Christian from Agric. Instead formerly from Wawa. Okay, I know who this is. Christian goes, "I don't understand. What advice do you want from We the Adult Conversations family? Do you want us to advise you to sit back and wait for him till he returns? My dear, the coast is clear, the picture is bright. If the young man has blocked you and avoided your chat even before he left the country, to the extent he told his parents that you both are mutual friends, then I don't think you need any other advice than to focus on building up yourself. I just hope you're not pregnant for him yet. Guess you might be worried about that as well. But if not, young lady, kindly move on and put that dude aside." Sister Ogun State says, "Good evening to all adult conversations family members, please. Please, Funke, move on with your life at all. Relationship can lead to marriage." All right, this one's from Lily from Idru, who says, "Funke, try to understand the handwriting on the wall. The guy does not want you again. That was why he avoided you, even to the extent of blocking you. Honestly, it's not fair at all, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just forget about it and move on." Okay. And this final one tonight from here, from Adult Conversations Family Group Chat for right now. This is, "Good evening, Adult Conversations Family. Funke, there's nothing to advise here. Just move on with your life and be more vigilant in your next relationship. Thank you." All right, so thank you very much. Keep the messages coming in. The phone lines are open, or the phone line is open. 07000 917 917. That's the number I've been trying to reach. 07000 pardon me. The number to call is 07000 917 917. You can send a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you
Hello,
for
good
calling
evening,
Adult Conversations.
WFM.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Mrs. Ogi calling from Mowe.
Hey, Jehovah. Mrs.
Long
Ovie.
time to
This time no
WFM.
longer. This one over long.
Love is more, I love go take care for
That's for
me.
you, because at this point, you don't be like first time caller now.
In fact, yeah, I travel to sometimes I will try to call, but the line will just be busy. I say, wow, I know the program is hot. Please, my greetings to everybody in WFN. Greetings to Adult Conversation. Tell
Thank
them that I miss
you.
them all,
Thank you so
all
much.
of them, eh?
There's one person
Grandma
that has been
especially.
asking after you since, and that's Comrade.
Who is that?
It's Comrade. Almost like he
Oh,
reminds me
Comrade.
consistently.
Comrade! I know you will ask.
I know.
I will please say that I'm back. I traveled before, but I will still travel back again by the grace of God.
Okay. I hope you have a good trip. Thank you.
We are fine. We bless God, ma. Yeah, my contribution to the lady in question that the writing is written is already written. So for me, I advise her to move on with her life. She understand. I advise her because the guy knew quite well. He knew quite well before he took that step. So the best thing is for her, just for her to move on. And what my advice for her is that let her forget about any man for now, any guy, anybody for now, so that she can focus and move on with her life, be prayerful, go to church, give her life to Christ. I think a better person. A better person will come and ask her hand in marriage. She understands. So let her not just take it to be anything because it has happened. She cannot back it herself. She understands. So please, I don't understand. I said just she should be calm and prayerful.
Much.
Yeah.
We really have missed that particular voice. That was Mrs. Ovie, and it has been such a long time since she called. I'm so glad that she's doing well. Thank you very much for your call, Mrs. Ovie. God bless you. All right, so this is a message. Okay, from Mrs. Ovie. She's saying, first caller for the night. She is saying that at this point, the handwriting really is on the wall. He really has run his course in her life, and he blocked her, and he has done all those things and finally left the country without telling her. So she's saying just take it in stride, understand that it's already over. She knows it's hard, but know that it's over and you need to move on. So she's saying do all the things you can within your ability to be a better version of yourself, and at the end of the day somebody better will find you. This one is coming from Comrade, who says, your boyfriend had just mutual with you. He did not promise you marriage. He blocked you and traveled to abroad. Sister, ride on with your life, Biko. And Shabi, you said mutual. Before, the God of heaven will fight for you. That's if he promised you marriage. Oh. But if he did not, he has left you. You yourself, move on. Christian, allow us to advise because I love advice. Okay, he said, I've been asking after. Yeah, I already told her that. Thank you very much, comrade. Okay, now looking at the subjects for tonight, looking at the story being profound for tonight, you will notice a few things. The first thing that I would like to highlight is the fact that they've been dating for 2 years. She and the boyfriend have been in a relationship for 2 years. Now, she doesn't say how old the boyfriend is and what he does for a living. She just says that she is 23. She's an advertiser. She didn't say what he does for a living and how old he is. She doesn't tell us that. But she says that they've been in a relationship for 2 years and he just up and left the country without her knowledge. Now, she said before this, has been avoiding her calls, messages, even blocked her on WhatsApp. She said she was worried, and so she went to his family house. And there she was informed that he had left the country. He told his parents that she was a mutual friend. And she said, I'm still shocked by this. Now, this is a very, very heartfelt story from the perspective of the fact that it's not very easy for somebody you love to walk away from you, and you will not feel the need to seek closure. You will not feel the need to know why, to even understand why what's happening is happening, and to know if you can fix anything going forward. It's always such a slippery slope. But the point remains here is this particular guy had been dating Funke for 2 years, and she just left the country without her knowledge. Now, it's important to know what was said, what was agreed in the course of this relationship. Did you talk about marriage? Did you talk about the next level? Did you talk about children? Did you talk about all of that? And have you been to see his parents, and did they accept you as his girlfriend, or what was the dynamic of that? Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening, and thank you for calling. Comrade, good evening. How everything?
How?
Work is good. Work is good. Thank you.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me very well?
Yeah, your voice is kind of low, but yes, I'm hearing you. I can hear you.
Because I go watch Egedege. I go down stories on Honora.
Oh,
Stories
for
on Honora.
Sunday, Abby.
I lost my voice. You come on now. As for no one bring artists for us for that. We don't call it, you say artist for that now. So I go down Egedege. Stories on Honora. Yes, I did.
I'm glad you had fun, comrade. I'm glad you had a good time.
I danced, so I continue to play myself.
All right, comrade, thank you very much for calling. Good evening. Comrade, I can hear you. I can hear you.
There is a girl. There is a girl I'm mentoring. There is a girl, 18 years old. Now 20 years I'm mentoring. He's a mutual friend. He's just a mutual friend. This lady when they tell us him and the guy had a mutual friend. Not only got to know whether they can employ the man promise him. But that man no love him. I said no love him. That's why I block her. Travel with that. So final advice is let her move with her life. It's not easy. But they go don't throw away. So we don't throw away, you can never get it back. So let her move on with her life. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, comrade. Soup we don't throw away, you cannot gather it with your hands. So he's just basically saying that it has happened and it has happened. And at this point where they are, he did not love you, and that's why he did what he did. He didn't love you. That's what comrade is saying. Because if he loved you, he would have carried you along. He would have been able to be in the best position for you to be of assistance or for you to even know about it. It's just basically for knowledge purposes. So comrade is saying he didn't love you. And so he's advising that you focus on yourself, that you move on because he has moved on. Now, as I was asking earlier, what level were you in that relationship after 2 years? What level were you in? Now, the reason I'm asking this particular question is because we always say that once it's a year plus in a relationship, here in Adult Conversations, we've said this several times. If the relationship is more than a year, it should already be tagged a serious relationship. You should already be potentially talking about a future together, making solid plans because both of you have decided to commit to each other. And as at the end of 2 years, this is supposed to be a solid relationship that is already headed towards marriage. That's if the guy has not proposed yet. But if he has proposed, still headed towards marriage, and that's the point, so that nobody is a time waster at the end of the day. So the question now is, what was the state of your relationship before he traveled? Did you guys have a fight before he blocked you? I mean, did you have a fight, or what was this situation of things? Were you talking about marriage and he flipped and then things just didn't quite go right after that and then he blocked you? Or was everything completely fine? You had talked about marriage, you guys were willing to get married. Had he proposed? What happened? What was the status of the relationship before he traveled? Now, another thing I'd like to ask is the is the fact that I'd like to know if you both had spoken about he traveling out of the country. Had you spoken about him traveling out of the country at any point? Where was this part of his plans at any point to travel out of the country that you are aware of? Because if he has mentioned it, then what this means is he had mentioned it. If possible, you contributed to it, or at least you did something, and that's the difference. except he did it without you. So, but if he had not spoken about it before, then you would even find this as a deeper betrayal because you were not even told, you're not put in the loop of this at all. So I would like to know what was the status of your relationship before he traveled, and did he mention that he was going to travel at any point in your relationship? This is still Adult Conversations on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7.
Some people go just promise you berekete, but they go only fit give you bear. Some no go fit do pass bere. If them to try, safe, some fit struggle give you bereke. But you see glow, they no go just give you berekete. They go even give you bereke plus joy safe.
Yes, when new and existing Glow users enter Glow Berekete Plus Plus, they will begin enjoy 100 Naira MB bonus data on top every first recharge of the month, another 60 MB bonus on top every other recharge of the month, and another 400% call time bonus. And if you be new Glow subscriber and call, now 1,000 Naira bonus credits, then go first take knock you welcome on top all the recharge them. This one pass every day na Christmas with Glow Berekete. Just dial *777# or activate new Glow SIM. Make yourself fit get joy on top your unlimited value. Waiting for Glow Berekete Plus Plus. Glow, joy unlimited.
People know how to impression, and that's why they only trust Lush Hair Extensions. Shining them. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
She has a voice, and yes, she can speak, but most of all, she deserves to be heard. Introducing Her Voice on Women Radio 91.7 as we seek to condemn all forms of violence and discrimination against women. Her Voice every third Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Her Voice is an initiative of Women Radio 91.7 under Women Voices in Leadership Project in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria and supported by Global Affairs Canada. Let her voice be heard.
20 minutes to 10 on Your Women Radio WFM 91.7. Welcome again to Adult Conversations. If you're just joining us, this is Adult Conversations, and we're profiling the story of Funke. Funke says she's 23 and an advertiser. Her boyfriend her boyfriend of 2 years just left the country without her knowledge. She said prior to this, he had been avoiding her calls and messages and even blocked her on his WhatsApp. She said she was worried, and so she went to his family house only to be informed that he's out of the country. He told his parents that she was a mutual friend. She said she's still shocked by this. Please give Funke some advice. Again, 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. Hello, good evening. You can reach out to send a text as well to the number 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Inewe. I live in Alaklo.
Tell me your name again, please.
My name is Inewe.
Mary.
Yes.
Mary, you live at Kitsu Alakpere. Thank you very much for calling, Mary. Mary, are you calling for the first time?
Huh?
Are you calling for the first time?
No.
All right. So
One reason is that I've heard before asking of saying that I'm not in a relationship. You said you are going to do the program. So I want to know the time. Have you done the program?
Which program are you talking about, please?
Huh?
Which program are you talking about? Which program are you referring to, Mary?
Huh?
Tell me the program you're referring to. Which one?
The program of now. to be relationship.
The one about relationships.
Huh?
Is it the one about relationships? The one that is it the one that connects single people? Can you hear me?
I'm not hearing you. Speak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you asking about the program that connects single people?
Yes.
Okay. Again, the program is still underway. There are lots of arrangements. The program is still in the works. There are lots of arrangements that need to be made for us to rebrand and bring it back. And we're working on it. So as I said, and I'll say it again, when it's finalized and when it's ready to come back on air, I will say it in those conversations and you will know about it. All right. So there's nothing to worry about then. I understand that you might be impatient, but give it some time. It will be ready soon. We don't want to come with something that is not good enough for you. We don't want that. So we're giving it our best. And when we come back, we're coming back strong. So don't worry about that. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mary. Okay. Now back to the story at hand. It's important that we understand that this is somebody's relationship that they thought would end up, well, in marriage. This is somebody's relationship that they thought would end up in marriage. This is somebody's relationship that they thought that they were done with other relationships, and this was their life partner. And now this happened, and I can't even imagine what Funke is going through, and that's why she's asking for advice. Hello, good evening. Volume, please. I really can't hear you clearly.
You're speaking with Salman from Ikorodu. Good evening.
Hello, Salman. Thank you very much for calling. How is Ikorodu tonight?
Huh?
How is Ikorodu tonight, Salman?
Wow. Cool, I'm calm.
I like the sound of that. Thank you very much for calling. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Okay, I'm great. Thank you very much. All right, so what's your advice to Funke tonight?
I can hear you clearly.
What is your advice to Funke?
Well, concerning the topic of tonight, she needs to let go and move on. That's just the only thing I need to tell her. She just needs to let go and move on because the guy did not value her. If he did, he would have carried her along. But for him not to carry her along, you should understand that the guy is trying to make her understand that he is not going the same way he is going to. Their destination is far different from each other. So she needs to understand those scenarios. That is the strategy. She understands. She just needs to let go of the guy, work on herself, and maybe find someone better than him. That's one thing about your relationship. Sometimes we get involved in a relationship that we are not going the same way, but we might think we are going the same way, but we are going in a different way. A guy might think we are going the same way with a girl, while a girl is thinking far different from the guy, and sometimes vice versa. So she just needs to work on herself, put herself together, and move on.
Okay. Thank you so much, Simon. Okay.
The questions you're asking, she has to answer that question by herself before to answer those questions that you are asking now. Those are the questions she needs to ask herself.
Okay, absolutely.
So the group, I don't know why.
That's all right. You know what to do. You can just send your information, send your name and contact number via WhatsApp, indicating interest in joining the group, and you'll be added on. It's as simple as that.
It's okay.
Thank you so much, Salman. Enjoy the night. So he's saying she needs to understand that somewhere along the line, their interests did not align. Somewhere along the line, their goals did not align. Somewhere along the line, their destinations, their journeys, let me put it that way, their journeys did not align. And at that point, whether or not she knew it, he knew it. And he took the decision to continue his journey without her. And at this point, this is just evidence of that decision that he took at that point. And now he has moved on without her. And Salman is saying, just go ahead and move on without him as well. He says he knows it's going to be hard, but she should just do her best. He also says she's trying to answer some of the questions I asked earlier. If you missed that, I'll ask it again so that you can get on board with what's been going on. Thank you, Salman. Hello, good evening. Dick and Ben.
I greet you.
How are you tonight?
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much. How was your day today?
Very. I heard them exchange you. Or is she not the one?
Yes, she was. She definitely called today. I mean, that took me by surprise, but I'm definitely glad that she called.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I greet everyone. I missed the other conversation from I've not been around anyway.
We noticed, and people have been asking after you.
Yes. Yeah. When the guy said, you see, when you profile that story, and I searched for the word mutual, they said they are just mutual friends, right? That was what the guy told the parents.
Yes, that she is his mutual friend.
Okay. Now the word mutual, what does it stand for? That is two people having something in common, mutual benefit. Then my question is, do they have mutual fund as well? When the guys use the word mutual, what was his intention in that talk, in the first place?
Well, I think from the way it sounds, I think he was just basically trying to tell his parents that they were just friends, just casual friends, that they were not in a relationship.
Just casual friends.
Yes.
You see, something that's the problem sometimes we face. The heart of man is very, very deceptive. When I mean man, I am including women as well, both gender. Are you getting what I'm saying now? It is possible. I am referring to someone as my fiancé or my fiancée. And deep down me, my heart is telling a different story. How would the other person decipher what I am having in my mind? Oh, this is my best friend. This is somebody I intend to marry. This is somebody I'm going to spend the rest of my life. And you begin to broadcast it to people, whoever that care to listen. But deep down, the other person is just saying, you are just a casual friend. I can just discard you and you get cheated. So I think that's a fundamental problem here. Could it be that this lady didn't understand exactly where this relationship was headed to? Could it be that there was no definition in the last 24 months they have been together? No commitment, there's no concrete assurance that, come on, guy, what we are doing is going to lead us to, something serious in life. Are you with me, Santo?
Absolutely.
And he was just, let me use the word in parentheses, rejoicing, thinking, oh, come on, I've filled it with this guy. That's number one. Let's look at it from the guy's perspective. Sometimes you see some people as excess baggage. It takes someone who understands your journey, who understands your goal, who understands exactly what you intend to do, for you to carry that person along. When Abraham wanted to go, sorry, I'm taking a little time. When Abraham wanted to leave to a place, God never instructed him to go with Lot. It was at his own discretion that he took Lot along. But we saw what happened eventually. Lot became excess baggage to Abraham. Until Lot got separated from Abraham, God now said, look at what I'm going to do for you. God asked Abraham to go alone. Could it be what this guy is saying, that it is not time for me to manifest what you think we have? Could it be that time will still come up when this guy would have, stabilized? Okay? But I'm not going to ask this lady in question to, put all her eggs in one basket. I'm not going to ask her to do that. If someone who you trusted never asks you that he's leaving, at least for you to pray or give him a word of encouragement, that tells you where you belong. That tells you that guy, the kind of friendship you think people are having, is just on the peripheral level. It's not deep down. So I'm going to ask her to take a deep thought, go back and see what you can make up with your life. If the guy loves you so much as you think, the guy would. But now none of those things came up, and the guy and you went to report to the parents, and they said, "Come on, the guy told us you are nobody to them. To him, your friends, my friends, Haba." It's heartbroken. So I'm gonna move on. Sometimes it's like that. God bless you. That's just my contribution anyway.
Thank you so much, Dickin Ben. Thank you for calling tonight. Interesting take there. Dickin Ben says it's important that the two people should be on the same page. He says it's possible that at some point that they were not on the same page, and which is why this guy made this move, took this decision and decided to go along with it without talking to her about it. And then he also said that she may have somewhere along the line misunderstood the nature of their relationship. That if he called her a mutual friend, aka a casual friend, somebody who doesn't really mean anything to the person in terms of relationships, it's possible that that's really what he had in his mind all along. But she misunderstood that and took it as a relationship. Now, Dickin Ben, thank you very much for calling. He says also that she should just move on, work on herself, and continue to do what she does. He also says that chances are that he went to the country and wanted to just set himself up and maybe come back for her. But he's saying that he would not advise that she wait or anything or put her eggs in the same basket. He would just advise that she continues her life without the guy and continues going on strongly. So thank you very much again, Dickin Ben. Now, takes me to the foundation of relationships. Sometimes when people say, "Oh, he didn't ask me out," we just gravitated from friends into a relationship and now we're together. Sometimes, as important as it is for most people, for both parties to be on the same page, sometimes that whole point of no official proposal, no official I'm not even sure what the right word is. That process where he asks you that, "Oh, will you be my?" Both parties know where they are, because all those people that say they just transition from friendship into relationship. Now, just imagine this happens, and this couple were the type of couple that just transitioned from friendship into a relationship without any official without any couple. Now, maybe they used to call each other twice every week or 3 times a week or every day of every week, every single day. And then they started, talking and adding some physical things along with it, spending all this time together, sharing plans, sharing dreams. They're going on dates, they're doing all these other things that couples do. And somewhere in her mind, she's thinking, this guy is in a relationship with me. We're dating. And because he did not propose or ask her out at any point, he thinks we're not in a relationship. And now this happens and he calls her. Between two people cannot be mutual friends because they're just two people. literal definition of mutual is of a feeling. Now, the adjective itself means of a feeling of action experienced or done by each or two or more parties towards the other, a partnership based on mutual respect and understanding. So if you say, oh, this my friend, we have mutual interests, that means me and my friend we have similar interests or we have a common interest. But when you say me and my friend, we are mutual friends, that doesn't exactly work in that context. If you say me and my friend have mutual friends, what that means is you and your friend have other friends in common between both of you. So that's basically what that means. Another meaning is held in common by two or more parties. We were introduced by a mutual friend. So that means, oh, me and my friend, now me and this person who has become my friend, we were introduced by somebody who knows both of us, somebody we have in common. So that's what that means, just so we understand. It's also imperative for us to see it from the perspective of, now I know that this, I'm throwing this out. Some people might not be receptive to this particular opinion, but we have to consider it. When did he ever introduce you to his family? And when he introduced you to his family, what did he introduce you as? And what is your relationship with the family? You seem like the kind of person, I mean, not you seem, you are the kind of person who can go to his family house and ask after him where he is, what's going on. So that sends a message to the fact that you consistently have been to that house. You know them, they know you. So what's the mode of relationship? Do they accept you as his girlfriend? Did he ever introduce you as his girlfriend? Every time you went there, did you were you received as his girlfriend? How have they addressed you in times past? Some of these things will give you ideas into how he actually felt at the time. And sometimes it takes this kind of thing to happen for you to step outside of yourself and really, really review the things that happened when you were in the relationship. His family, how do they treat you? Anybody treats you like a daughter or like a sister when you go there? Have they accepted you into their family, quote and unquote now? Mysterious. Many people don't understand that a relationship doesn't lead that all relationships don't lead to marriage. Some to a pastor told me, pata pata 6 months in a relationship, it must be defined. Some to if actually she would answer your question. Samuel is right. We have passed some tough relationships too. They can Ben a halo. I danced a gedege yesterday. Oh. Well, the word mutual is just friends, nothing married, not business partnership, not deed of agreement. So to help us define mutual, I just did that. Thank you very much. Yes, it has to be defined sharp, sharp. My mom told me man and women don't be friends. Okay, that's very relative because a man and woman can actually be friends. So that's very relative. But thank you very much, comrade. All right, so please keep the messages coming in. I'll take some Facebook messages in a little bit. Now, back to the subject at hand. It's important for us to note that this, again, is somebody's real life story. As I always say, we share real life issues and we discuss matters relating to the heart. So, as we give advice, let's be compassionate and let's be empathetic. All right, now, going back to the story. When you look at it, she said, prior to this, he has been avoiding my calls and messages, even blocked me on his WhatsApp. Now, if by accident, and I say this very loosely because there really is nothing like accident in this kind of thing. When somebody ups and leaves the country, it's not accidental. It might be an emergency, but it's definitely not accidental. Now, the first question I asked earlier was, had you discussed him leaving the country at any point, whether for work, for study, whether for a training? Had you discussed with him about his plans for leaving the country? And then when you did discuss it, did he sound like you were included in that plan? Or tell us what that conversation sounded like. It's also important to note that um this was premeditated. I mean, it might seem like it wasn't. Again, as I said, the only thing that can take any fault away from this man now would be an emergency. But if you, however, however big of an emergency you had at the time, the fact that you have gone to, you've most likely arrived, and you haven't made contact. And another thing is, it couldn't have been an emergency if you took the time to block somebody off of your WhatsApp, to to um to avoid calls and messages. It's like you knew that this was going to happen and you were building up to it. So definitely, this does not seem at all like an emergency or an accident. This was clearly intentional from her boyfriend. Now, what are the reasons behind this particular action? We don't know. But the truth remains that he has left the country and you were not told about it. Another thing I would like to know is, you say you went to the family and they told you that he's out of the country. He told his parents that you're a mutual friend. I mean, I'm interested in the parents' point of view here, because if you were his girlfriend for 2 years, he would have introduced you to his parents. And even if you might not have started actual wedding processes, the practical version of it, that's what I mean, at least you would have talked about it. His parents would have met them, and you would get the feel of what they think about you. But all that aside, Funke is in such a difficult place right now, and she needs advice. If you've been through this before, if you were jilted by your lover or by your boyfriend, by your fiance, somebody who left you out of the blue, holding the bag, holding the remaining the basic remaining shards and sediments of your relationship. And I say that because if somebody throws your relationship in your face and doesn't tell you when they do something as major as leaving the country, that means they're leaving you holding everything. They're basically saying that I've carried it, I'm all gone, and they're leaving you with the remnants of it, all the little debris that comes with the relationship. Again, they must have viewed you as a means to an end. Another good question would be would be what was he doing for a living? What was your boyfriend doing for a living? This question is important because you're 23, you're an advertiser. I know personally that the advertising industry pays healthily. It all depends on where you work exactly, yes, but the advertising industry thrives. They do a great job and they just never seem to run out of business. So if you're 23, you work in advertising, that means to a large extent you make good money. You might not make crazy money, but you definitely make good money. So what was he doing? And I ask this because if his financial capacity was lower than yours, then that might indicate, or that might allude or infer to the fact that he probably just needed you for what you could contribute to his traveling abroad. And leads me to my next question. Did you contribute to him traveling abroad? Did you help him with his passport? Did you help him buy anything? Did you connect him to the country that he went to? What form of assistance did you give him when he told you him about his desire to travel abroad? If he told you. 7 minutes past the hour of 10 on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. This is Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and we discuss matters relating to the heart. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama, and tonight we're profiling Funke's story. Funke is basically telling us that her boyfriend left the country without talking to her about it. He left the country and just basically disappeared without a trace, because Funke later went to his family house to ask, and it was confirmed that he was out of the country. But the part that shocked her was the fact that he told his parents that she was just a friend. And she says she's still in shock over that, and she needs our advice. So if this has been you before, or if you know somebody that has been through this before, and they came out stronger on the other side, they came out stronger, they came out more determined, they came out just basically ready to give things their all, then it's important that we note that. It's important that we note that. It's important that we note that, and we would like to hear your story. If you've been through this before, if you know anybody who's been through this before, it's important that Funke hear from you, that she hear from you, so that she can know that somebody feels her pain, somebody actually understands what she's been through. So if this has been you, kindly call in. The number again is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. And you will symptom. You will understand that if Funke's boyfriend's family is telling her that they told him that she's a casual friend, now that makes me wonder. That makes me wonder how they took that and how she related to that family. Because as I said earlier, for her to go to his family house to ask after him, there must have been there's a system in place. And by that, I mean, he must have taken her to his house several times. So she going there to ask about his whereabouts will not be new, because they probably already know her very well within this family. So that just lets us know that this was relatively intentional from the perspective of her fiance, of her boyfriend. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for calling.
My name is Tayo.
Hi, Tayo. Where are you calling from? Hello, Tayo.
Yes, calling from Songo. Calling from Songo.
Ayokumi calling from Songo. Thank you very much, Ayokumi, for calling. Thank you. Are you a first-time caller?
Talk about what happened to. I forgot her name. They're talking about this life.
Yes, Funke.
Yes, because it's absolutely. And we always together. Always stay compact. We have been together for like a year. Although I have a big shot too. So we always have to understand. So I'm not experienced. It's always nice. And it's just like because I
Okay, Ayokumi, I'm going to have to ask you to call back, because I have been straining to hear you and I really can't hear you clearly. And if I can hear you, I'm not here. The line is breaking, so I can hear and then I can't hear. I can hear and then I can't hear, and we can't keep going like that. So please try to call back. Okay, I understand that might have been a little bit difficult, but we need to hear you. We need to hear you. Ayokumi wanted to share her story. She was already talking about it. She was already talking about it, and I couldn't hear her. So please try to have good network where you are. Very important. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for calling.
This is my first time. My name is Gift. I'm calling from Wawa.
Gift from Wawa.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Welcome. My advice to ladies that just have my advice for us to move on because it has 20 years. It's time for this and but now the guy is even years He's trying to, I don't understand. I don't know how to say it. He's getting my friend. My friend, that is, I just been share my story to her. But now the guy keeps to me. Let me just say like this.
The guy is getting married to your friend.
Yes, he's getting married to my friend. We date for 2 years. We date for 2 years. For me to know, because I'm working, him too is working. Then now I met him, but all our family knows me. They appreciate the name, they do everything. But for me to know, I just let somebody tell me that he's getting married to my friend. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. For me, I'm not moving on. I just say I just should do something else. For what to say to the lady, she should move forward. She should move her life forward as a lady.
Thank you so much, Gift. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Wow. Gift's particular story is unique because her boyfriend basically had a thing with her friend. Her boyfriend of 1 year had a thing with her friend, and I really just cannot understand how these people feel. I can't imagine the kind of hurt, the kind of pain, the kind of heartbreak that they go through when this happens. So Gift is also telling Funke to move on with her life and do her best to make the best version of herself come out every single day. Just work on herself. Don't pay attention to anything that's happened in the past. So thank you very much, Gift. Thank you for calling. 15 minutes past the hour of 9, by hour of 10, pardon me. 15 minutes past the hour of 10 on your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Now, we're profiling Funke's story tonight. Funke's telling us that she and her boyfriend, she and her boyfriend of 2 years are no longer together. And the reason they're no longer together is because her boyfriend left the country without informing her. Her boyfriend left the country without informing her, without talking about it at all. And she went to his family house to ask them. They did confirm that he left the country, but they also said that, they did confirm that he left the country. Yes, that's the most important thing. They confirmed that he left the country. And that's why I keep asking, what's the relationship between you and his family? If you had any friend there, they probably would have told you before he traveled. But that's not important now. What is important now is Funke's state of mind. Funke's state of mind is what is most important now, because she's been through this and she says she needs advice. She says she needs advice. So it's important for us to give her all the best advice we can possibly muster so that it would work for her and she would possibly look at more aspects of things and maybe come to an informed decision at the end of the day. So there's so much to realize about this particular story, considering the fact that 2 years is not a short period of time. 2 years is not a short period of time. It's not. So people being in relationships for up to that time would be advised to define what their relationship is about. Now, a lot of the time when people say define, it seems like, oh, a serious thing and everything. You just need to make sure the person you're with is on the same page with you and that you're on the same page with them. So 2 years, not a short time, but was anything discussed about him traveling out of the country and what is going on next? And by next, I mean, how does she fix this? How does her heart hurt a little bit less? How does she not focus on the fact that she's just been recently heartbroken? What is the advice that we can give Funke tonight? Again, the call is 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. Now back to the conversation. Back to the conversation. Funke and her boyfriend, whether or not they had spoken about relocation plans, it's definitely off for you to come to a place and it's like nobody knows what you're talking about. She went to the family house, she asked about it, they said he had traveled out of the country, and he said that she's a casual friend, and there was a mutual friend. So it's a very, very, very dicey situation because Funke is already in it. She's already going through something at this moment. So when we give advice, please let's try to be very, very, very empathetic, sympathetic. Let's really try to just encourage one another. Now, the family that what's his name? Okay, we don't know his name. The family that Funke's boyfriend is from has a little bit of a role to play in this. Then again, they said he introduced her to them as a casual friend. Again, loosely said, as a casual friend. And Funke is heartbroken because she knows that the relationship that they had is not casual friends. She knows that the relationship that they had is not casual friend. And this relationship lasts years. So when somebody tells you that everything that we did in 2 years, everything that we talked about, everything that we planned, we don't know where we are with them, it does not look good on anybody. Now, back to the same Funke has been through a lot already, and she just needs advice. She needs to know what to do next. She needs to know what somebody who has been through this before did when they went through this. And that's what she needs to know. She needs to know if the other side of this feeling right now is a good place to be. The number again to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. All right, now going on to Facebook and reading some messages off of Facebook. This one is coming from Bashiru Uluwagbenga Adeton, who says, "This is clear. He doesn't need you. Simple as ABC. So please move on and pray to God for yours." For Lake Akinkuli, it says, "He'll only use the pastime because he believes you won't support his idea of traveling. So just move on with your life, retrace your steps, and be focused. Time shall heal your wound." Benjaz is saying, "It's clear now. He said you guys were mutual friends. Story finished. Find another man that will love you." Okay, this is very harsh because it's not the woman's job to go out there and just find somebody else that will love her. That's not the way life works. Okay, so this one is coming from Nancy Mba Ikwezu, who says, "Please put together and move on. It's obvious he has no plan to be with you long term. So while you're hurt, try to get over it. Find the time to heal and love and dote on yourself. Remember how amazing you are. Before you let your heart to get deeply involved with another man, always define relationships with the opposite sex. Never assume. And learn to read a man's actions. The guy who left you may have been dropping the hint that there's no future in it. You're probably too blinded to see." Thank you very much from Nancy Mbakbezu. This one's coming from Nicholas Isaac Stopperichi, who says, "Advise you on what you're a mutual friend, and that's what you are to him. So move on." All right, this one is coming from Uluwasheun Emmanuel, who says, "You don't need to be shocked. It happened because the relationship wasn't defined from the onset. One thing I do tell people is to be prepared for the unexpected. It's obvious you have been dating yourself all this while. Okay. Now, let me tell you this. This guy will surely want to come back to you after some time. But my advice to you is to move on. Don't think about it. I know it's very hard, but you just have to be happy. Thank God you're still young and you thank God you're still young and you still have time to correct every mistake of your life. So sorry, the good people are not always lucky. Okay. All right, more messages. Please keep them coming in on Facebook at WFM917. That's where to go to see the story, and then you can comment at WFM917. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube at WFM917. So it's not that I'm trying to phrase this in the right way now. Everybody in the Facebook on the Facebook comment says, "Oh, you knew that this was going to happen because the relationship wasn't defined from the onset." So again, lesson, your relationship has to be defined. I agree that the relationship has to be defined, or we can just go with the flow in this particular context. And in this context, remember that this has happened already. Funke is hurting now. She's not hurting in 2 days. She's hurting now because this is something that has recently happened to her and she doesn't know what to do. So if you've been through this before, somehow, what were your coping mechanisms? How did you get this situation behind you? Hello, good evening. Okay, please try to call back. Please try to call back when you can. All right, this is 25 minutes past the hour of 10 on Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. My name is Sumta Titilayo Ajama, and we're profiling the story of Funke tonight. Funke is 23. She's an advertiser. Her boyfriend of 2 years just left the country. Okay. Her boyfriend of 2 years just left the country without her knowledge. She says, prior to this, he has been avoiding my calls and messages, even blocked me on his WhatsApp. I was worried, and so I went to his family house, and I was informed that he's out of the country. Okay. And that's basically that. That's basically the story tonight. And a different, divergent points of view have come in, and everything still points out to a large extent to the fact that Funke just needs to move on and work on herself. Though not busy. I mean, not easy. It's not very easy to say she should move on and just work on herself. It's not very easy to do that. Okay, this one is coming from YO from Ikeja, who says, my opinion, did they discuss possibilities of life together as husband and wife or just friends? Even as a girlfriend, for him to pick up communications with you prior to him leaving the country is a signal. There are possibilities he found a greener pasture, school admission, or somewhere who promised a paper there. It's painful, but you have to face the reality. The possibilities of him not contacting you when he's away are high. Take the pieces that is left and work with it. And that's from YO from Ikeja. Thank you very much, YO. Okay, this person says, good evening. Like, I'm enjoying this program like Kilode. My advice for her is to move on with her life. Let her delete all his pictures and messages, like everything that will make her feel bad. To let her delete from her mind. Okay, so we're inching closer to the point where we have to ask the hard questions. And this is important because we need some context as we go on. Okay, please try to call back. The number again is 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. Hello, good evening. Hello?
Hello, good evening. I'm calling again.
Okay. Hello, Ayakome.
So, hi guys, we used to live together. But I thought that guy loved me, something like that. So like, but even he didn't tell me that there's nothing between us. So he just like, let's go on. So in the middle of it's not that doesn't have much. So anytime I have, we always have. It's like not trying to play with that. And I was saying again, I was just, so maybe he didn't want to tell me. Maybe I'll be joking. But someone like that. You understand? So I thought the same way as so later that I was making mistakes. I didn't blame him. I don't blame him. So the one for him, I was like, it's just a I'm that will help me. Although before I thought first okay. So I just advise to just move on. The guy it has happened.
So she should just move on, right?
Him telling her that is him not telling her that is going is traveling. So she should have understood that the guy was rid of her. So that was what move on. Like even sent to lie to her or pretend to be a lover of her. You understand? If for that she had been the best nothing between them. There's a chance for her to continue her journey. And the guy too, he has already continued and he has told her. So just to come life journey to make a great fit for her. But maybe that the other way you say that maybe in terms of that is not that although every someone doing this, he just did it. It's good for him. In my own, but she's found that they can surely remember. But in the case of relationship or that, it just that they are just because of it. Because she continues to think like that, or she's not working. That doesn't think. But I know you. But right now, this makes me work. She just needs to talk it out.
Interesting. I wish you could just round off a bit, but I think we got the meat of this story. And thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for sharing with us. It's very important that we acknowledge these people that share their stories from their own individual points of view, because it helps us to understand specifically what it is that they went through and how it links to what the story is being talked about. So, given all of this now, one would think that the relationship between Funke and her boyfriend has been talked about, defined, and now this is not the case because Funke says he's out of the country. So what should Funke do? How can she move on? Hello, good evening.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I'm calling from Magboro. I would like to contribute.
What's your name,
I would like to
please?
contribute. I'm Vincent
from Magboro. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
I would like to contribute to Lady Catherine. So I've experienced some kind of thing before. I remember when I have a girlfriend. So for me to say, let me leave her from village so that I will come back. On my way. So when I was also, so she initially meet a guy. The guy is one of my friends before. So the guy gave her pregnant. When he gave her pregnant, they told me, I asked her, she said nothing is like that. So, and I really pray about it. So God, if it is your will, she will get married to me, and if she's not your will, she will get married to the guy. Initially, God
Heard
after
your
my prayer
Mhm.
that that is the girl is not my wife. What I want to urge her is that let her pray. If the guy is for her,
Mhm.
yes, the guy will surely remember her. But if not for her, let her. God will tell her to go another way. That is my opinion, ma'am.
We should pray.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
This subject of prayer, you cannot sweep it under the carpet. The subject of prayer cannot be underemphasized at all, because he said he prayed about it. He prayed about it. He prayed that, oh God, if this person is meant for me, let me know and let the person end up with me. If they are not meant for me. And that just tells you that when things finally play out, you can know that, oh, this is from God because you've already prayed about it. So we really can't underestimate the place of prayer. And Funke is in such a difficult situation now that she might be finding it hard to pray. But the kind of God we serve, if you're a Christian, you know that you can pray to God at any point and it doesn't have to be rehearsed. You don't have to go through any unnecessary protocol. You can just speak and he listens. So I understand and thank you very much for that particular point, Vincent. Thank you. All right. Let me take a few more messages on WhatsApp. Okay. I've read all the messages, but I would like to just pick out one or two and just add it to the points of view that are being discussed tonight. This is 25 minutes to 11 already. And 25 minutes to 11 means that we're rounding off little by little. And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation so that we can contribute positively to Funke's life, as I always do to everybody that we profile on Adult Conversations. So, the point about somebody said, Funke, move on with your life. Not all relationship can lead to marriage. This particular point, as important as it is, it makes you wonder whether Funke really was in a relationship for 2 years or whether she was the one in the relationship, but the guy was not in that relationship. So you're saying move on with your life, not all relationships can lead to marriage. If they were not a serious couple, if they were not a serious couple and everything was fine, they would just be friends and it won't mean anything because they're not a serious couple. But if this is serious, particularly for the woman, it makes you wonder, it makes you understand that she would have viewed this person as somebody that she wanted to spend her life with. But apparently, from the looks of things, that's not what played out for her boyfriend. Again, if this has been you before, if you've been through this and you came out strong on the other side, if you were the one whose girlfriend just up and left the country or left with another man and didn't tell you anything or got married to somebody else, explain your story to us and give Funke some good advice. And if it's the flip side, which is the kind of story that we're profiling now, if it's a guy that walked away, you were supposed to spend your life together, you people thought, or you thought that you had it all covered and you were confident in the person, only for the person to wake up one morning and either break up with you and say they're not doing it again, or do something like what Funke's boyfriend did. Just leave the country for a fresh start. So yes, not all relationships end in marriage, but it's important for both parties to know what it is exactly that they're doing. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the blocking point. Funke said, and I quote, prior to this, he had been avoiding my calls and messages, even blocked me on his WhatsApp. Now, as I said earlier, this seems like he was already working on the breakup. And by the breakup, I mean the fact that he just stopped and left the country and did not tell Funke. He had been working on it because why would anybody block their friend or their their person or their girlfriend out of the conversation. Why would anybody block them? You just block them and you make them know that, oh, I don't want you seeing my status. I don't want you to see what's going on in my life. And now Funke says he did this. He wasn't picking her calls. He wasn't taking her messages, and he had blocked her. So this was definitely a move from Funke's boyfriend to build up to the fact that, oh, he also was in a, how do I put that? To build up to the fact that he ended up leaving the country without telling Funke. So I would like to know what your advice to Funke is if you've been through this before or if you know somebody that has. It's important that she hears from survivors. And I use that term very loosely. I say survivors because heartbreak really is heartbreaking. There's really no other way to put it. Heartbreak is extremely heartbreaking. Sometimes you don't know what to do, you don't know how to go about it, and you need assistance, you need encouragement, you need to keep busy. Everybody approaches it from their own different point of view. That's why I need you to call in and to give Funke your story. Just give Funke your story. And then, of course, as she listens, she can be able to take an informed decision at the end of the day. The guy who up and left, I mean, if you're thinking that, oh, maybe he traveled abroad to just set things in order and then call her later on, then it calls to concern the fact that he did not introduce her as his girlfriend to his family. He told them that she is a casual friend, so to speak. So this again would make Funke feel worse about the fact that you're in a relationship for 2 years. And apparently you either don't do a good job of it, or there's just so much that is keeping you away from the real potential of the relationship. And in this case, it's neither actually, it's neither, because I believe that Funke would have looked at this man and said, oh, this is the person I want to be with. And possibly whether or not they had those conversations, she will be secure in the fact that her boyfriend is doing what he's doing. But now going to that house and asking about his whereabouts, only to hear that he's out of the country. But not only is he out of the country, he basically just called you a casual friend, somebody that you've been with for 2 years. So it's definitely heartbreaking. And that's why I need people who have been through this, or people who know other people who have been through this, to give Funke some advice. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. 07000 917 917. You can also reach out and send a text or a WhatsApp message. Send a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. This is still Adult Conversations in Your Women Radio, WFM 91.7. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama, and tonight we're profiling the story of Funke. Funke's boyfriend of 2 years just up and left the country, and she doesn't know what to do. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Okay, please call back if you can. Please call back if you can. Now, again, going back to the story. Funke tells us in her story that she went to his family house and was informed that he was out of the country, and he told her parents, or he told his parents, that she was a mutual friend, and she says she's still shocked by this. Does this point out to the fact that sometimes we see things, but we do not take them very seriously as red flags, technically? Because the truth of the matter is, every time she went to his parents' house, Every time she went to his parents' house, and I say every time because if she can go to his house after he traveled, then that means she had been going there before. She had been going there before. Maybe she made one or two friends somewhere along the line, and nobody told her anything. Nobody told her about the plans that he was making to leave the country. And at this point, she doesn't know what to do. Everything's just to a large extent unbelievable to her because this is somebody that she spent 2 years of her life with and did not expect for this to happen. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for calling. What's your name?
Oh, sorry, I just made the story in the middle, sir. But I
Okay.
don't really know. Is the girl or the guy have the issue? Or how? I don't understand the story well. Sorry,
Okay,
ma.
so the story is very simple. Funke is the one that we're profiling her story. She's 23. She's an advertiser by profession. Her boyfriend of 2 years did not inform her and just left the country. She went to his house, his family house, and they told her, they confirmed that he had left the country, and they also told her that he told them, now the boyfriend now we're talking about, he told them that she is just a mutual friend. And by that, I believe that means that he told them that she's just a friend and not his girlfriend. So she says she's still shocked by this. Even before he left, prior to the fact that he left the country, which she didn't even know that he had left, she just noticed that he had stopped picking her calls, replying her messages, and that he had blocked her on WhatsApp. So she doesn't know what to do. She's shocked by the fact that somebody she dated for 2 years just up and left the country without telling her. She's shocked. She doesn't know how to react right now, and she's just basically asking for advice.
But I'm sorry, ma. How sure is she if the boyfriend really loves her? I'm sorry.
I don't think there's anybody who is 100% sure that their partner loves them, except they see it consistently every day by their actions. So if something happened, I asked the question at the beginning of the program that what was the status of your relationship before he left? So if everything was okay and he just suddenly stopped picking your calls and stopped replying your messages, then it calls to question what really happened. But if they had conversations and then maybe they had fights or arguments or all those things, and then he stopped picking your calls, you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe he's giving you silent treatment and we'll talk again when he's calm, not knowing that he has actually left the country. So we really can't say whether or not he loved her, but this action doesn't indicate that he did.
So my advice to her is if she really loves the guy, she needs to go and meet one of the family members, the guy's family, to explain what is going on. Maybe they'll do something about it. That's my advice.
Okay, so when she goes there, does she have to explain that, oh, though he told you that we are just friends, so I was actually his... Do you have to explain it that way? You have to explain it that way? Hello? He did make a valid point. You know, you can talk to. He said that I was actually his girlfriend for 2 years and everything. So it's going to be such a difficult situation to navigate, most definitely. But yes, thank you very much for calling with that piece of advice. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please turn down your radio. Turn down the volume of your radio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Emmanuel from Akiode.
Emmanuel from Akiode. Are you calling for the first
Yes,
time?
Akiode Ojudu. My advice to her is just that she should give the guy a little time, probably 1 month more. If they didn't call without any information, she should just move on with her life and forget about the guy. because it's strange. You
Interesting.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy just traveled, you understand? And without telling her or informing her, probably they don't have a fight, they don't have a quarrel for good 2 years. The truth of the matter is just that maybe the guy is just using her to, to pass time or something like that. But let her not finalize. Let her just give the guy additional 1 month more. There is no need going to his family and explain herself. He's my boyfriend. That it doesn't make any sense. You understand? And moreover, the guy told them that they are just a friend. That they are just a friend. I mean, it's just like, to me, it's like the guy is not serious with that. He's just using her for the meantime. That's just it. And let her just give the guy 1 month. If the guy didn't call her, or if let her move on with her life. There are a lot of people like that that are like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. She should move on with her life. I think to a large extent, this is the exact advice that we have received tonight. She should move on and, just manage her own life in the best way that she can. And this is a very important piece of advice. This is a very important point of view. And the reason this is important is because though she's heartbroken, though she's in a tricky place, though she doesn't know what to do, it's important that she takes time to find out about herself later on after this whole thing. It's important to grieve, it's important to cry, it's important that you acknowledge what happened. Don't bottle up your feelings, acknowledge what happened, and then pray. I'm just reading out some of the things that were said earlier. Pray about it, and you will see what God will do. It is such a difficult place to be in right now, particularly somebody you thought that you're in a relationship with, only to find out that you're not particularly in a relationship because, they just do their thing and they do it without you, particularly when he traveled out of the country without talking to her about it. So that's evidence of not being on the same page with the person you're with. Hello, good evening.
No, good evening. Sorry, I call you my Kakashi.
Oh, okay.
My advice so far, I didn't mean the guy is speaking call or doing this. Because we call the guy and ask what is going on. But that one doesn't mean. I know some guys are so okay.
Hmm.
You know how to turn up and down. And for me, I don't really like seeing all those guys where they are treating their women because women need respect. Depending on how they treat their face, how they are living their life sometimes. So for me, I would advise the girl to just stay on her own. Keep on praying. Already, the right one will come. If it is the guy will still come back to her. Don't pray. It's all about her.
Thank you so much.
God will really help her. I know that it's so painful to fall in love with somebody that you love. That will just start doing somehow. I know that it's too bad, but you need to keep on praying.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling. All right, we're about the time where we wrap up Adult Conversations. This is 7 minutes to 11 on Your Women Radio WFM 91.7. Adult Conversations tonight has definitely been very enlightening and very interesting to actually listen to. It's important that we note that the WhatsApp family, the Adult Conversation WhatsApp family, still accepts messages even after the program is concluded. I say it's important to note that because you may have something to say, but you didn't get through to making your call on the platform. So you can do that and still do a good job of giving for giving Funke her advice. So at this point, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has called, who has texted, who has sent in messages on Facebook. It's imperative that we know that we cannot do this without you. We can't do this without you. So thank you very much. And also on behalf of Funke, I say thank you again. And I hope you will join me tomorrow here on Adult Conversations, 9 to 11 p.m. So thank you very much. And I believe that Funke will be able to take an informed decision. Thank you to the producer, Taiwo Adeleye, the engineer on duty, Timileyin Ajumo. My name is Somto Titilayo Ajama. Please keep safe and have a wonderful night.
I know love sometimes hurts, but it's over now. 'Cause when you are around, everything just works. Baby, when you need a shoulder at your shoulder, even when it's getting cold, I'll keep you warmer. You don't really know how much that you do mean to me. We'll be together this time forever. No matter the weather, this time forever. We'll be together this time forever. No matter the weather, this time forever. You don't even have to try to sweep me off my feet. When I'm having a bad day, you make me smile. I don't know how you get me to laugh, girl, you're funny. If there was any time I hurt you, girl, you know that I'm sorry. Baby, when you need a shoulder, I'm your shoulder. Even when it's getting cold, I'll keep you warm. You don't really know how much that you mean to me. We'll be together this time forever. No matter the weather, this time forever. Yo, after we pick a date, after the ring and the cake, after the pastor says grace, after we bring your last few boxes of things to my place in the first 5 years, let's have 2 kids. Gonna need space, move to a new crib. Sometimes I gotta travel to do gigs and make money so we can save the school fees in the next few years. Till we're 10 years together, I know we're gonna face harsh weather. When the ring calls, baby girl, I'll be your umbrella. Nobody could love you better, my girl. Can't promise that I will never hurt you, but I promise to support you and to treat you like I know you're worth more, even if I don't have the words to. And inside, it's a year anniversary. Still take my breath with the nursery. You remember when I came to that nursery? I think both was done with the tertiary. 30 years in, we started moving on. Looking at your face, your beauty still gold. Right by the side, your hand up more old. Never has a more beautiful story been told. And you get sick at your own age. I'm not to you till you're okay. I'ma see you till you hold your hand and sit by your side for the whole day. Cause that's my wife. Love you on love, and I love you in the afterlife. Girl, I'm gonna be forever. What I'm trying to tell you, girl, is I'll love you forever, forever. Baby, when you need a shoulder, I'm your shoulder. Even when it's getting cold, I'll keep you warm.